welcome to my very first Currently Inked. My name is Carly, I'm a writer, and I'm slowly becoming really interested in fountain pen content as well, because I write all my first drafts longhand, and yes, then at some point that just comes with the territory. This is my very first time, please be gentle with me. Stuff is bound to go wrong. I am a bit nervous about doing it. I practiced a bit, but only bits and pieces here and there. The thing is, I'm doing this the middle of January because some stuff didn't arrive at the beginning of the month, and all the while I've still been writing. So I'm going to be doing a Currently Inked plus the review all in one video. And to swatch, I'm using this Leuchtturm softcover notebook that I want to be my sort of ink log. And I know that's not the standard in the community. It's just I write my novels on Leuchtturm paper, and I decided for now to go with the option of swatching the inks on a paper that I'm going to be using for the manuscript. So, and I got it in sage because that's one of my favorite colors. And I wanted to be not terribly ambitious, and so I only inked up 5 pens for this month. I've prepped the page a bit. These really cool stickers are from Cute Stickers Only on Etsy in the UK, and you can fill them in. And so at the end, I will pick some colors to go in there. The very first ink pairing that I want to show you, let me just do a bit of adjustment here, is my Senator pen. This is the oldest fountain pen, or the oldest one of my personal fountain pens that has survived from my adolescence. My parents bought me a couple of fountain pens that had a piston fill because I was just writing all the time, and yeah, just to encourage me, I guess. This has sort of a lovely ink pattern, and it's a piston fill with a medium nib, and but this one has been bashed about a bit, and that actually showed in everything that I'm going to talk about. And because it's sort of a neutral pen, I inked this up with Diamine's Aurora Borealis. Difficult to say for me, because I really love teal, and I'm using the bottom of a glass pen to swatch. I've tried multiple things, and this one works really well for me, just because of the pattern in the glass pen. It holds a bit of ink, so you can actually do a fair bit of swatching. I'm not quite happy with the way my writing comes off with the tip, so I'm not going to use that, at least not in this video. So yeah, let's get started. And I'm going to do like a swirly swatch. I really like the more dynamic ones, and I think sometimes they show off the properties a bit better, because as I said, I've done a bit of experimenting with sort of what I want to do, and I did some solid swatching, and they're lovely too, but I think for the Currently Inked, it's it's fine if they're a bit more interesting, let's say. Okay, so I think I usually post this one because it's not the biggest pen. It's very classic. Senator seems to be like a sort of, a German brand, but I could not find out anything about the model online. So the ink is Diamine Aurora Borealis. And actually it looks really dark here because what I had to do is to loosen the piston a tiny bit, because I will show you in the writing swatch, this is actually a pen that starts to write very dry after a while. And then I basically had to kickstart it back into action, which is, I sort of attribute to the fact that this has traveled a fair bit. I have not treated it gently when I was younger. So that's in the Senator with a medium nib. Let's just do some figure eights, some little swirly thing to show. And then just to show you what I mean when I say it's not terribly legible. Oh no, sorry, that was not what I meant to say. So basically this is a spread from my manuscript. You can see here that here I had to kickstart it, and that's sort of after a page it will start to run dry. I don't think that's the pen's fault. I think that's sort of bound up with the history of the pen. It's great for short, like journal paragraphs, that's fine. But what I'm doing is that I want my pens to, to write for hours at an end. So yeah, I can't really expect something from this pen. So I feel a bit bad about it, but it's what it is. I still want to use it because it has history. I still want to keep it in the rotation also because my rotation isn't currently large, let's say. So yeah, that's the first pen is the Senator. Then the next one is my Parker Jotter in red with a medium nib. This is my workhorse pen. I definitely have written so much with this. The medium nib has, I think, now developed almost into a broad because I don't even know how many hours. And because it's red, I have paired it with Diamine's Writer's Blood because, that just seems appropriate to me. And obviously, like the diamond inks, they are just a bit more accessible, especially as I'm in the UK. And also, I really love that you can get just so many different sort of sizes of them. You don't have to commit to a really large bottle, and that's just the right thing for me. I don't have a lot of storage space, to be honest. I need to be quite picky with the amount of ink I buy, and I found that in the UK it's not that easy to buy ink samples. Please correct me if I'm wrong, if you know of a shop who does it. I haven't found one yet. And so I really only have ink bottles, which is not ideal if you just want to test out something. Okay, I usually write with this one unposted. This is not an expensive pen. I think when I bought it, it was about sort of £10 to £15, something like this. It is quite a thin pen, And considering that I have quite large hands, it's really weird that this works for me so well. But as I said, I really can write with this for hours. And so that's Diamine, bright as blood, and then that's in the Parker Jotter red. Let's do, yeah, and that has, just put a medium nib on it, just do the little squiggle. And this color, I mean, apart from the name, which is just brilliant, I really like this color too, because you can see it's red, that's not black. And that's one of the main criteria. I don't really want to write with black like so many people. Black is just boring. And you can see here, it's extremely legible. There are no great starts and stops with it. It just looks amazing. So yeah, I think this is one of the reasons why I'm almost thinking about making this like a permanent pairing. Maybe like in between. I actually, since the beginning of January, I had to refill this once already because I used it so much. And I didn't only use this one, I used the other ones as well. So yeah, it's quite fascinating. So the next one is my new to me, because I've never written with TWSBIs before. I was always very intrigued by the shape and by the fact that you can see the mechanics of it. I really like that. And I watched a lot of videos, because one of the things about my fountain pen like hobby is that I really can't afford, space-wise and funds-wise, to have too many duplicates, or any duplicates really. But I already know that's probably not going to be a rule I can, I can go ahead with in the long term. So I basically, from all the TWSBIs out there, I chose the one that really appealed to me the most, and that's the Cafe with the bronze trim. That's from the Breakfast series. And I just love that it has such a huge reservoir for ink, which will come in so handy for manuscript writing. The thing is that I paired this, not because of the matching, color matching, with an ink that I love so much, but I think that it's actually, you'll see, it's a bit too light for manuscript writing, and that's Robert Oster Wind. I saw quite a few swatches on it, of it in other people's videos, and I just love the like blue purplish hue of it, because my second least favorite ink color is blue, and I wanted to go more into the blurple direction, and this definitely is blurple. It's just a tiny bit too light, which is such a shame. Okay. Spotchy, spotchy. I always make sure that I'm closing the bottles immediately, because this desk is really small. It's basically like an old-fashioned school desk size, and things get so crowded, and I just need to, I'm just terrified that I push things off. Okay, so that is Robert Oster Wind, and that's in my TWSBI Eco bronze, and that also has a medium nib on it, because I actually bought it because I thought I'm going to do shimmers in it, and like chromo shading and stuff. So I did not put the ink in here just, yeah, as I said, because of color matching, but because I wanted the properties of the pen to complement the properties of the ink. I think it does that. And the interesting thing here is that when I start to write with it, it's really quite legible. But as I'm going on, it seems, I don't know if it comes out, it seems to come lighter and lighter. And someone, I can't remember who, but someone mentioned that as well, that for them, a Robert Oster ink basically started strong and then went lighter and lighter. And you see, oh, sorry, that now this sample is from when I was already writing quite a bit, and it's not that legible. And it's such a shame because I still love the ink. So I think I'm probably going to keep this for journaling. But that means that the TWSBI is not the right pen to put it in because it has such a large reservoir. I don't really need it, to be honest. Then number 4, sorry, is my Kaweco Sport I'll show it to you in a moment, but it has a cartridge in it, so I need to get my ink from there. In the Smooth Sage colorway, which like matches the journal so perfectly. And I bought some Kaweco cartridges for it, and that's Stormy Gray. And the swatch, it usually looks quite dark, but again, it actually is quite light in writing. And even though this Kaweco has a medium nib on it, yeah, I think also because Kawecos are supposed to be like more dry writers, and I think I've found that to be the case even for the medium nib. I don't say I don't like it, but you'll see. It's not really that legible. So already there's like a huge difference between the writing and the sample. And that's Stormy Gray. And that's in my Kaweco Sport. That's just it's from the color collection, but it's sort of the plastic one. And has Smooth Sage with a medium nib. And I think one of the things that it's not a big issue, but what I notice is I don't know if I can replicate it. If I open the pen, it makes a squeaking noise of the plastic threads, and that's basically my least favorite thing about this pen. I think it's just when you open it, and for some reason that's sort of, I know that some people can't do like metal on metal, the plastic screeching, that's, yeah, I find that a bit more difficult. And you'll see in the manuscript, it is legible. It's a tiny bit light. So since then, I've been hunting for a gray that's a tiny bit darker, just a tiny, tiny bit. And I think, I haven't ordered it yet, but I think, again, Diamine Earl Grey might be a really good candidate for these properties that I'm looking for. So yeah, that's my 4th pen. And then my last pen in this currently inked is the Asvine, I think I prefer Asvine to Asvine P20 in the colorway Green Marble. That also has a medium nib on it. Weirdly, Asvines turned out to be the pen. In the beginning, I wasn't really fussed about them, but then they turned out to be the pen where I wanted to basically compare different filling systems. So I have more to come. So this is a piston fill. It's the P20. So I really like that their model names reflect the filling system. And then I have a C80 and a V200 that are going to be featured in a future video. You'll see I don't really have expensive pens in my lineup. I've been thinking about this. So the thing is, for me, because I'm usually not writing at home, I'm writing on the road, in a cafe, I'm a bit hesitant to drag expensive pens all over town. And so something like this, which is sort of a well-made dupe, it's probably the best option for me, because if this breaks, if I lose it, it's not the end of the world. I, at some point, probably need to branch out into more expensive or more unique pens, because these are not unique. They are, production pens. That's fine. And I think what I'm going to do is that I'm not going to go for high-end production pens. I think I'm going to go for maker pens, because at least then you have something very unique and you're supporting small businesses. So I think that's the way that I'm going to go, but I don't think that I'm going to be able to acquire a lot of new pens, especially new maker pens, throughout this year. If I can make it to one, maybe two, that would be amazing. But I also need to keep my collection fairly small. But for this one, so this is a Leonardo dupe, and yes, I wanted to go for the Green Marble because it sort of mimics these colors, and I really quite like that. It's a really big chunky pen, and as I showed you before, my workhorse pen, the Parker, is very thin. So I was also very curious how I would cope with a chunky pen. My hands are very large, but that doesn't seem to stop me enjoying smaller pens. And because with this one, I really wanted to go for something color matching. And I allowed myself one wearing gold ink. And I went with one that I haven't seen around. Like, I haven't seen many people use that in swatches. But I was intrigued because of the green. I really like greens and browns, apparently. And that's Wearing Gold's Pinocchio. It has a golden shimmer, and it's quite light green. I knew when I bought it that this was probably not a manuscript ink for me, but more of a journal ink. But I thought this shade of green was so special, especially in combination with the shimmer, that I really wanted to give it a try. So that's what I'm doing here. So I've shaken it up to loosen the shimmer. And then, yeah, especially on the slightly yellow tone Leuchtturm paper, I just really like it. I know that sort of some things where I think I also need to play a bit. This can't all be work. So that's my playing, so to speak. And I've really, so far, I've really enjoyed it. I also think, as opposed to the Robert Oster Wind, I think my expectations were just very different, and they have not disappointed me. So that's the Ringo. Oh, okay. It's Pinocchio. And that's in the Asvine P20 in the green marble colorway with a medium nib. I must say that the next Asvines are ordered in a fine nib, and I really love the fine nibs too. This one, because I knew I wanted to use it for shimmer inks and like inks with other properties, I thought, yes, let's get a medium, and I think that was the right decision. Oh. So yeah, I really like, the color of this. And yeah, it's really interesting, the color palettes for this month. They're all quite dark, I guess, when you look at other pairings, but yeah, let's line those up. See that they're all in the frame. I'm literally doing this with a very limited setup. I'll try to find better solutions, but for now, this is just me playing and finding out stuff about how I like to use inks and what colors I like. Oh, I need to show you the Wearing Gold writing sample as well. So yeah, so these are the pens, and the Wearing Gold writing sample, as expected, is very light, but not as bad as I thought it might be, which is amazing. It's still legible enough that I opted to write more than a paragraph with it, and I think it's going to be a bit more difficult to transcribe, but I think it's going to be fine. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to rate the pens with 3 criteria, which is the ink, the flow, the legibility. I think the comfort level, I don't think if I can't write with a pen for a long time, it's not going to make the lineup, I think. Maybe I'll add a category at some point. So the ink, flow, and the legibility, let's do it like this. And so for the diamine, I gave the ink an 8 because I love the teal color. I love that it's dark, but you can still see that it's teal, and it's exactly the type of teal that I was looking for. Then the flow is 6. Again, this is to do with the pen. That's not to do so much with the ink, and the legibility a 9, because when it's in full flow, it writes really well. Then the pairing, the Parker and the Wright's Blood, I gave the ink an 8. I don't think I'm a red ink person per se. The flow 9 because it was really good, and the legibility a 9 because it pairs. So my favorite, yeah, it's legible, but it's still, so it's not black. It's still fun in a way. Then the Robert Oster Wind in the TWSBI Eco, I gave the ink a 10 because it's amazing. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. The flow a 9 because the TWSBI is just great. And the legibility is 6. In this sample, as I said, it's not too bad actually. Then the Kaweco with the Stormy Grey, I gave the ink a 7 because it's not quite the grey that I wanted it to be. Then the Fluent 8 and the legibility 7. Because I think over the wind, it was consistent. It did not go in and out of lightness as the wind did. And then for Pinocchio in the Asvine, I gave it the ink a 10 because I bought it for the beauty and it's definitely beautiful. Then the floor 9, because with a medium nib, that's amazing. The legibility, it's more for 5. But I think 5 is sort of the bottom limit of what I can do. But yeah, this is my currently inked for this January. I'm making plans for, as you can't all see that in one go, but as I said, I'm going to change the setup if I can. And yeah, I think it's the color palette sort of is very winter. It's not really wintry, but it's more cool toned apart from the writer's blood. And I think that works with the weather that we've been having. In the UK, it's been very gloomy. It's a bit nicer today, but the last days have been very gloomy, very rainy. So I think that matches quite well. And I think they're almost dry now. To show you like the beautiful teal. Then writer's blood. It's just, yeah, legibility king, really. And then the purpliness coming out in the wind. This is why I wanted it, because it has the underlying purpliness. Then Stormy Grey, looking very dark in the sample, but very comparatively light in the writing. And I think that's also why I quite like having, doing the write-up with the actual pens and not with a dip pen, because the dip pen, it's never really what it's going to look like. And then the shimmer, the golden shimmer coming out in Pinocchio for wearing gold's ink. And I think because of the broad nib, or not broad, medium nib, this is still legible. But I would not put this ink in a fine nib. So yeah, this is my currently inked. As I said, my ink usage, pen usage comes with a few caveats. It needs to be functional. It needs to be a bit more, yeah, practical. Let's say it can't all be play, but I still want some play. And I think I'm going to color this one in the writer's blood. I'm only just at the beginning of this whole thing. I will find better ways to do things and just maybe do the Kaweco. No, the blue for the other one. So I'm really, please give me your suggestions, what I should adjust, what do you think would be a good idea, what if there are any inks that you really love for longer writing sessions. As I said, I can't really acquire too many pens because I don't have the space for it. I bought like a pen holder with 12 slots and I can't. So I will probably do like 12 production pens and then a few maker pens that I keep in a separate vessel. But I'm a bit restricted, budget-wise and space-wise. So, but inks, I see myself acquiring more inks. I recently swatched all the inks that I have. I have 18 inks at the moment. This is why I'm saying the dip pen is, I haven't really got the hang of the glass dip pen yet. And I realized I can actually get a few more purples and I get a few more browns. I don't really want more blues. I think that's fine. I think if I get a grey, I should be set on the greys, but purples and dark browns are where I can definitely have a few more. Yeah, if you have any suggestions, that would be amazing. I'm primarily a writer channel, but yeah, pen and ink comes with the territory, so that's that. If you would love to be along for a ride, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I'm sure there are so many things I could do differently, could do better. I definitely need to get some sort of gimbal for the camera. At the moment, we're not quite there. The lighting situation is a bit weird because I'm not in front of a window. I'm basically having to improvise a bit, but we're getting there. So thank you so much for being here and see you next time. Bye.